Hi everyone, welcome to the Unpopular Opinion, where three ladies share their views on life. We exchange information with you, and we love to hear from you. But we also, talk amongst ourselves, and it's so good to see you again. So,
have you guys noticed that Prim is introducing for the first time? How do you feel?
I'm trying to be calm, have an accent and all, but now let me be myself. So anyway, welcome to our channel, and today we are going to talk about a breakup that nearly killed you. But I feel like killing is so it's too dramatic, but I feel like a breakup that sort of just asking, are you the queen? Are you the chindazi that people see? Are you that girl? Are you her, or are you just in the ghetto? Are you in the streets or something like that? And
Fiona, you look guilty of this.
We are dishing. Now the thing is, I don't even know. I'm going to go first, but I don't even know if that person is not, important. Those exes that are not important, but I'm going to talk about this because of how it made me feel. I never felt like that before or after, and I won't feel like that again. Because
we have Bubuna.
Thank you. Bubuna. As you are watching this, Bubuna,
there's no breaking up.
I am dusting your chair in heaven like this. Because on Jagadde. Anyway, so there was this person that I think I dated out of, when someone approaches you and you know that they're not your type because they are so different from you. Yeah. I cannot even use the word munyachalo because I always use that word, but this is not even a munyachalo, but it was a bad-mannered person, let me say. And during our relationship, I remember when I was getting there, I feel like they found me at a very vulnerable time in my life, and I just needed someone like a friend. Thank you, like a friend or someone to just whine to or something. It was a hard time anyway. But I remember, now no offense to whoever will hear this, but let me go ahead and offend you anyway because that's what no offense does. This person was cheating left, right, center, but that's not the problem. But I remember when the relationship finally ended, I almost went into rehab. Not because I loved the person too much, but because I felt so unclean. I felt so dirty.
Spend my time with that.
I felt so dirty. I felt so unclean. I felt so unworthy, because how could Queen Bathsheba, Esther, all in one, Jezebel, have dated or have intertwined with such a person? Like, how did I ever fall from glory so far? And where was God this whole time? And for me, the hardest part is, I remember telling Fiona that I used to shower about 6 times. Trust me, I spend about 1 minute in the bathroom, but I used to take 30 minutes or 40. I used to scrub, and no matter how many times I scrubbed this person off, it always felt like they would never go away. Time came when I felt like I cannot wash my vagina and also use my fingers to eat, because I feel like they've been in a dirty place because I've, slept with this person. It's not even about the cheating. Exactly. And the people they were cheating with, you get. Thank you. Like someone like them who would sit there and say that, but tell that chick to leave my man alone. And I'm like, me, that chindazi you see here, I was once in a scuffle of leave my man alone. Which man though? Leave our trash. You raccoon, leave our trash alone, because that was trash. That person was trash, and we were 2 raccoons eating in that trash. You understand? So for me, it didn't leave me brokenhearted. It broke me because I felt so that I didn't know how to love myself again. I didn't know how to go back to how to increase the volume and how to just be myself again, because I felt like It was not even using. It was not I was using. No, I wasn't using. It was how did I stop so long? I felt dirty, unclean inside my heart. I couldn't pray for years after that because I felt like, how do I come back to the grace of God? Where do I start from? It was, man, that thing almost killed me. It almost killed me, to tell you the truth. I remember I had sit on my suitcase and cry, not because this person left, but because they were probably I would hear things like they were telling people, oh you're namumala, and I'll be like, how?
Like he used you. He akuja mjusi na kumala. Like that's painful.
Yes. How? As in, the thing is, now I know that you can't say that to me or you can't say that to any other woman or man, because guess what? What makes you think that the person also didn't use you? You get? Yeah. But then the fact that myself, I turned towards me, blame myself, anything that they said, anything that, came, always felt like, damn, as in, but it all came back to, what was I thinking? How could I have entertained and sat and gave even just 1 minute of my life with this rubbish? How?
I can relate on so many levels, because I think like when I think the breakup, I'm thinking of the biggest, I think what almost killed me in that was struggling to forgive myself.
Yes.
Because I also saw that person from the beginning and there was something off. There was something off, but and I think in that relationship, because I've always been those people of like, not everyone is intuitive, so let them know, like, me, Fiona, I like this, I like that. And he used the things that he knew I liked to create an illusion of love.
Smoke screen.
As in a whole, like, you guys, a veil where everyone would be like, oh my God. Have you seen how somebody loves Fiona? You guys, like, even when we would go, let me tell you a story. When we would go like to the mall, and when you stop at that car place where you get the car parking, whatever. Kati, I'm in the passenger seat. Mkuba kafana nye. I'm in the passenger seat. Then they are going to check. He would get out of the car, open the car door for me. I go into the check. He first opens for me. I enter. Then he goes back.
Like, who are you with Fiona to believe that guy?
Are you understanding? Everyone is like, somebody is loved.
Yeah.
And yet within the relationship, you guys, kutimba ring me as in, and yet within the relationship, there were so many unhealthy things. Like, he was emotionally abusive. Like the kind of person who will tell you, he was actually the first and only person in my life to tell me, like, you're almost 30, like, where else would you go?
Like, it's like he's your last hope.
Yeah.
You better get in line.
And then he was, a non-communicator, the kind of person who will get pissed about the tiniest thing and then not talk to you for days. Literal days. Yeah. Your boyfriend is not talking to you. But as he's not talking to you, he will send you a flower at your workplace and everybody sees.
So then you feel like, what is wrong with me? This guy loves me so much. I did something to him. Yeah. But even while he's pissed at me, he's sending me flowers.
That's the high road. He lives on the high road. He lives on the flyover and you're just down these ends. Yeah.
And everyone around is just like, manange, somebody is loved. And you're also like, now how can I even think anything else? Clearly, I must be. Yeah. It must be true. And I convinced myself that it is true, even in spite of the deep unhappiness I had in that relationship. And it's where, like, by the time, it was all very dramatic. And if you know me, I'm not a person of drama, but the breakup was all very dramatic. He proposed. I said no. Whatever. That's like a whole other story. I feel like it needs like a podcast session.
Yeah.
It's a whole other story.
We need to make a episode just for this.
Man, it's a whole thing. And then, so then I broke up with him shortly after that proposal. And then a year later is when I found out that he had been sleeping with his girlfriend, with his ex throughout our relationship. It was one of those things where, like, you're like,
like a slap that you felt
right
after.
And I was abstaining. I've been abstaining for anyway. So I was abstaining, and he knew that was something we talked about early in our relationship, and he was there like, abstaining.
Let
whatever.
us pray, Sister Fiona.
God, please help us in this journey to abstain till marriage. Go
Understand?
But it's the audacity for me.
So So it was like,
So dusty comes with Rolex.
there he was, about to have a baby, whatever. And I'm like, wow. It came out so much later. And he invested so much time saying very negative things about me.
Yeah.
And I
Which
just
you
did.
believed?
No, I didn't
No.
believe them. I knew it wasn't true. And I knew that the people that I care about, it's not true. So it's fine.
Okay.
And it was one of the best things I ever did. The high road is difficult, but it's actually the right way.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, right things don't always feel
Yeah.
good. And I took the high road and all these things came out later and I was like, oh, wow. I dodged a grenade, cannon. I don't know what I dodged. It was not a bullet. Like I dodged
Atomic
something
bomb.
else. I'm
Russian
like, this
invasion.
man was straight up going to marry me whilst sleeping with somebody else.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm sorry, let's just like back up. Me, whomst is the dope chick. I was like, I'm sorry.
Wow, where, what?
I want to understand.
Where's the camera?
And I thought of all the insecurities he carried into our relationship. Like he had all these delusions of grandeur that I would bring. I don't know, for some reason he thought our family was something it wasn't. And there was just like all this delusion about how I could raise his status.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You
I
were
never-
someone, yeah.
and I'm
Someone's child.
like, it even gives me like,
Exactly.
remove it from my
Get me
skin.
sanitizer because
You know, and I'm like, even before the cheating and the what came out, I'm like, this person who made me feel like this.
Yeah.
And incredibly, that was my longest relationship. I chose to stay in that relationship for all of those years. And he held me with those opening the car doors and you guys, that man sent me flowers every single month. Every single month that we were together, he sent me flowers, whether I was at work, whether I was where. He
They
did
would
all
find
these
you where you were.
grand gestures, right? And that's how I would stop and ask myself, I should be grateful.
Yeah.
I should be grateful for this, and I should be
for the
grateful for
bare
that.
minimum, for less
I mean,
than the
it's
bare
flowers.
minimum.
You would
Come
think,
on.
like me, I was just out here thinking, I think this is the
life.
The standard.
thing.
Love looks like.
This is love. And yet I was feeling so fake about myself, so fake.
Yeah.
And it
you
was
having to come down to accommodate these people. Because you have to. I remember one person, this person saying that, oh, by the way, if I marry you, you'll not. Because I used to read, books a lot, and so he's like, but if I marry you, I think I'll be banning all your books because you can't just be there reading and not paying me attention. And they would hide my books. And they're like, but why are you always reading and stuff like that? And guess what? You come down, like take all those stairs from heaven where you are and come down and meet this person on earth and actually accommodate their insecurities, okay? And then you are forced to not talk about your achievements. You're just constantly lowering yourself. So when you talk about forgiveness, I feel like that forgiveness for me was not for that person. Clear. I struggled with forgiving myself.
Yeah.
I had to go back.
I mean, he was trapped.
Oh my goodness. How could I have eaten from the kasasido? You get, like, I had to go back and learn to forgive myself and tell myself, you know what, it's okay. Sorry to yourself, because it was very easy for me to forgive everyone else than but to forgive myself, it was so hard. It felt like I wished I could go to those places where they lock you up and they chain you and
rehab,
and they beat you. I felt like I wanted someone to beat this skin off until it peels off, and then I get new skin and a new body. But I realized that the struggle was inwards, and I had to forgive myself. I had to, and it was one of the longest journeys I had to ever walk. And I thank God because after that person, I had to relearn to love myself. I had to relearn to speak to myself kindly, but I also learned to extend grace to people who are going through things. Like, instead of saying, oh my God, we told her about this person, she went back. And we sit and talk about you. I'm always like, I hope that this person, realizes their value, and I hope that they get out of it. And once you get out of it, I'm like, how can I help you? How can I support you? Because I know how hard it is to forgive yourself above everything else.
It's so difficult.
But it also helped me set my boundaries. I knew that.
I think for me it was I think my biggest breakup ever was my divorce, but I don't like talking about that. Actually, I made peace with it, and I let it slide into. So I don't talk about my divorce and what happened. I don't talk about my ex-husband ever at all. I just don't. But what I will say is afterwards. So we are apart. We're separated. I talk about myself and my experience. And hey, I remember there's a time I got home, and it was quiet. You guys, I'm not a breakdowner. I don't cry. I am one of those, strong women. Yeah, soldier boy.
Tell him.
And I got home, and it was quiet. I just broke down. And I didn't realize, and usually I get over things very quickly. I'm one of those people, like, if it's not building me,
How old were you? By this time, as in now you after.
When I cried,
after,
it was, I don't remember the year. It was, I just remember this thing.
The feeling. Yeah.
Feeling like it was a belly cry. You know those belly cries that are painful?
Yeah.
Like your stomach has something inside, it has to get out.
Yeah.
You get? And I cried my heart out. Now, to be fair, after I cried, I did this kawal. And I moved on with the day, that evening. And, it's just, it was really hard to get over the whole, okay, I am divorced. First of all, I'm a divorcee.
20.
Everyone in life is going to, and then also because I didn't give my side of the story to most people. I don't often talk about what happened. I just let it go. I let it go. So, but then of course words went around, words went around, and unfortunately my ex-husband was part of the words that went around. And I knew, and I often told him, can you stop spreading untrue things? Even the true ones, stop talking. But look, people are going to talk what they want to talk. And people obviously didn't get my side of the story. Very, very few people know exactly what happened. Very few people. I can count them on my 10 fingers. And so, you know what? It doesn't matter what you tell people. Do you get what I mean? And I just realized that it doesn't matter what you tell people. It doesn't matter. Like, first of all, you're divorced. It's already going to. It's like a red. I erased. I got.
That's divorced.
It's like someone coming and putting a red paint all over you.
You
know what I did? I went and got a white one and painted over that red one myself. So I decided that this is not who I am. It's something I have been through. It's not who I am. Do you get what I mean? And it took a lot of intentionality. I know someone asked me recently, I had lost my confidence. I had lost my will, like to, spice up life. Remember when we met? I had no confidence. And so I put one step in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, step by step. If you had told me 2 years ago that we'd be doing this show, I'd have laughed you out the room. Do you know what I mean? That is how bad I was. And yet I used to be a very confident girl. Do you know what I mean? Always the most confident. I've still not met, until this day, I've never met anyone as confident as I used to be. You get, and I've met very many confident people. To me, in those days when I was younger, you guys were in the presence of awesomeness. Do you know what I mean? And I believed it with my core. Do you know what I mean? And then I went from that to completely
just
terrified of someone so much as looking at me. You get? And so I had to do the work. Someone asked me recently, what does it mean to do the work? Like, what do you do? What you do is put one step of neck after the other. Like, if something scares you, if you decided you've pointed out that confidence is something you struggle with, you decide, I'm going to do something I fear every day. Do you get what I mean? And then I'm going to keep expounding on that and expounding on that. The first time I put my current husband, at that time he was my boyfriend, I started my Instagram page in December 2019. The first time I put my then boyfriend, now husband, on my Instagram page was September 2019. You get, I didn't have the confidence to put out there. I thought people would be like, you know, talk about me and stuff like that. The first time I talked about the fact that I was divorced was much later. You get, it was just slowly by slowly, I just realized, look, if you judge me, that's on you. You get, this is not who I am, it is what I've been through. And we need to learn to separate that. We need to learn to separate what you've been through from who you are. The circumstances that you've been through, the painful things you've been through, do not get to dictate who you are. You get, and it takes a lot of work. Work a lot of people don't want to do. It's a lot of intentionality. I remember when I started my YouTube channel, actually no, when I decided I'm going to make friends, because for a long time I didn't have friends. Even my old friends, like I had kind of, you know, and we'd chat every now and then, but we were not friends. So then I decided, you know what, Claire, you're going to make friends. This is what it takes to be friends, to make friends. And then I remember I joined a group of friends, my husband's friends. And then I remember I talked to one-on-one. Let's say I meet you guys, I talked to you one-on-one, and I told you something. But then I talked to her, but because I think she wants a particular answer, I tell her the thing I want her to know. I think she wants me to, yes. But then of the same situation, so I lied to her, you get, at that particular point, because I think, so that's what happened with my friends. And then I'm thinking, I didn't sleep for nights, you guys, thinking they're going to talk to each other about me and find out I'm lying. Do you know what I mean? I didn't sleep. That I didn't sleep for, it was so nerve-wracking. I was so anxious. And then, you know, time went by and no one was treating me weirdly. You know, no one, and actually they actually know it now. I keep telling them, I told you something. I don't even remember what it was, but I know I told one a lie that I thought she would want to hear, you know? And that's, you realize it later that was the pattern I was stuck in, you know? And now I have released myself. I don't care what you want to hear. This is what you want to say. Yes, this is me. And again, when I say work, put one foot in front of the other. Be intentional.
No one is coming.
Healing is not going to happen by magic. You need to do the work. You need to make the medicine. Take the medicine. In the prescription it's given. Get yourself therapy. I went to therapy, you know, but on top of that therapy, I you know, talking therapy is great. When you talk your things out, it's great. So I talked to a therapist, and every morning, there are times I'd wake up and I just wouldn't want to get out of bed. You get, and I would go back, but then I'd be like, but Claire, this is not the life you want to live. You don't want to get into a cycle of depression. Get up. And I would. So it's just, and even now, you know, because that pain is very hard to entirely get rid of. It's probably something I'm going to have to live with for the rest of my life. You know, it has different effects on me. So sometimes when something happens and I think about it, I don't say it or anything. I just feel the feeling and move on. But I've accepted that, look, that is something I've gone through. I may never entirely, it's like breaking your leg. If you're a runner and you break your leg, you're never going to run again. You may walk, you may not feel the pain physically, but it's difficult to go back. It changes you. You know, you have to figure out what else to do, you know, other than running.
And like, speaking of unpopular opinions, this is not, obviously doesn't apply to everyone, like everyone is so different, but legit, one of the best things I did, or actually the best things I didn't do, is sleep with that man. I want to tell you right now, it made it a lot easier for me. You guys, sex is a very spiritual thing. When I left him, and of course there was a lot of pain. That was an investment that we both made for a long time.
But there's that
There were a
particular
lot of
one you
feelings.
avoided.
I was like, Lord, thank God I didn't sleep with this man. It was one of my biggest, really, and to be honest, it made that breakup easier. And if you are a person who has decided to abstain, please don't let anyone talk you out of it. You've decided that for a reason. You know yourself, and you know why you've chosen it. So if you've chosen it, please continue with it. It will save you a lot of heartache. Honestly, for me,
wear it proudly.
It made me so happy. Like I felt so much contentment. It made it even easy for me to not have to play that whole tell people this, tell people that. I was like, me as me. I'm kawa.
I know my truth.
Like there are parts of me you never got. And it's all right. And it's fine. It made the healing process a lot easier for me, to be honest. It just did.
So how do you think, how are you now as a result of that pain?
I will say, wow, that's actually a really good question. I think one of the ways in which it changed me is, I think it made me see my own weaknesses a lot more clearly, for sure. The fact that I identified so many red flags but stayed. Had to go into a process of, why did you stay? Why do you feel the need to stay with someone even when they're taking from you? You know, it caused me to do a lot of self-work, a lot. And even just that whole process of even figuring out how to forgive myself for making that decision and even taking accountability. Because sometimes I think we spend a lot of time blaming the other party. But saying that, Fiona, I chose to be in this relationship. I saw red flags and stayed. I like taking accountability. It's painful knowing that and like accepting it, but it also helps you like move forward and, you know, work on ways to not make some of these mistakes again. It doesn't make you perfect, but it does make you a little bit better. So I think it definitely, it taught me those.
And at the end of the day, we just want to make ourselves better. We get better and better as we go.
Yeah, we do.
They can never be perfect. Prim?
For me, I think it's who I got to come back as. I, like, all jokes aside, I came back as this person that knew what I wanted and I wasn't afraid to say or, you know, show it, or I wasn't afraid. After that person, I wasn't afraid to, you know, walk away and be alone. It taught me to be alone because that's something that I had to do. I went through a journey of just being alone and loving my company and first loving me. That way I could present myself to other people to be loved, you get? But the other bad side to it is that it made me quite insecure in showing people the person that, you know, I'm with. I always felt like, please don't tell Claire that we are dating, because the relationship that came after that, I hid it so much. When the person would tell their partners, I'm seeing Prim, I'm like, who is that man? I don't know that man. I was... I don't know who, Simon Peter, swearing, I swear, 3 times. I don't know who that guy is. The fisherman, you mean Jesus? No. He just got us fish and nothing much. That's who I was. But I also realize now that now when I hide my partner, it's not from that, it's not a traumatic, it's not a response to that trauma. It's just more, I want to protect this person because now I'm in the limelight. But then it was, I don't want another failure added unto me. Like, I don't want the public taking records, having records of negundi wa mongeda konera even era it's you era
people. Sometimes I feel like, you know what? I know, for me, I released myself from that era. If it didn't work, it didn't work. Like, you know what I mean? Okay, I cap it at 2. But I mean, look, I'm one of those people who now, after, look, people get married and it does not work out. Does that make sense?
And
it's two imperfect people. Like, Philip is the love of my life. Do you understand? But getting married to him, it's not rosy. There are days where I was like, why? TF. Did I do this again? Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been there before. Does that make sense? It's just like, marriage is not rosy. Do you get what I mean? And for as much as, you know how we live in a country where people say these things happen. I released myself from that pressure. Do you get what I mean? The pressure, I mean, I don't have pressure. I mean, we work towards, my husband and I have a common goal to make this work, regardless. But me, I have my boundaries.
Your boundaries.
I have my
How
thresholds.
much work you'll do,
Do you know what I mean? I have my, this is unacceptable. Do you know? And I've had that conversation. This is unacceptable and this is not going to work. if this happens. Does that make sense? And he's also had it with me. Do you know what I mean? But I think the way I came out, you know how you jump off a cliff or someone falls and everyone's like, oh my God! But then they land and then they're like, you get it. I'm good. I'm okay. I'm okay.
It's how you ignore
That's
a child.
how I
A child
feel.
falls and everyone is like, don't look at him.
Yes.
So the baby doesn't cry.
Yes, we move. So that's how I feel because I feel like I'm a much better person. I am happier. I am okay with myself. I am confident. Now I have work to do. There are days when I just don't want to get into my room, into the wardrobe, close the doors, and just be in the dark. There are those days. They happen. I don't talk about them. I have them. I feel them. And I move on. But then as well as it's also, I feel like I am a living testimony on the fact that divorce is not the worst thing that can ever happen to you. It's not the greatest either. No. But it's not the worst. I'm not advocating for it. I'm not. But if it happens, it's not the worst thing that can ever happen to you. You get what I mean? And also, there are men out there who marry divorced women.
And vice versa.
Because where are you going to get the next one? That is a lot of talk I had. When are you going to? Who tells you I need the next one? Do you get what I mean? So it's that part that don't worry about what people are going to say. I'm not saying get divorced. Don't. I'm not saying that. It's just that whatever decisions you make for your life, whether you're choosing to get married for you.
Thank you.
You know, don't get married because you're older. Don't get married because, I mean, people say women have biological clocks. Science helped us with that. They are freezers. Do you understand? Freeze them eggs. Freeze them in time. You don't need to worry about getting older. That's just where nature starts. Science stops. Science starts. Do you know what I mean? And it's okay. There are options these days. You know, the same way they tell you don't do this, a man is not going to marry you. Who says the man is the most important thing in life?
And also, why would you want that man, that particular man?
If he's not going to marry because you're this, there's something you can't change about yourself, then move to someone who will.
Like if he needs you to be something else, then is that the person you want to spend your life?
Exactly.
You know?
Oh, guys, this has been a very deep session, and we could go on and on about this, and we'll keep referring to this. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you for coming with us thus far. And this is our 10th or 11th episode? I'm not so sure, but thank you for coming thus far. And we would love to hear from you guys in the comment section below. What is the one breakup that almost killed you? You could, for you it could be, no musajoyo, or it could also be because we shared for us like this is how it made us feel. So we would really love to hear from you. And
be a divorce, was it a one night stand, was it let us know. We'd love to hear from you. We're getting real with you. We want you to get real with us. Don't forget to
subscribe
and
hit the notification bell.
Thank you. See you next time. Bye.